what are the biggest lessons that you learned in your transitions or in your real estate career leading up to today?
I would say be patient, but be reasonable. And when I say be reasonable, I don't mean just try to be a realist. I consider myself a realist. Amy considers me a negative person, where she is always sees the best that can come out of everything. And I think I'm in the middle, but I tend to.
I can totally relate to you, Jon. I think it might be the IT thing in our head, you know?
Yep. So being realistic about what can happen, and positive and negative, and then just being patient. A lot of people make real quick knee-jerk decisions, whether it's cutting a marketing channel or adding a marketing channel or adjusting their buy box to this or that. You have to give things time. I mean, it's not like we're going to see changes tomorrow for anything we're doing today. You have to give yourself time and be thinking 3, 4, 6 months out ahead. I think that's the biggest.
What is the number one factor that lead to your success today?
I was having a conversation kind of with somebody about this similar topic a few days ago on Facebook, and he said leads. Leads are the number one thing that make our businesses grow. Yeah, that's what really catapults us. And I disagreed. Leads are obviously important. We have to have leads. To buy houses, we have to have leads. But being very systematic, and when I say that, I don't mean to a crazy level, but to be successful in this business, especially if you're going to have a team of any size, having repeatable processes will give you repeatable results. And when things change, you can look at it, make changes wherever they need to be, and then see where you go. If you're flying by the seat of your pants all the time, who knows what's going to happen? Do you know if you're going to make money? Do you know if you're not going to make money? You could have virtually identical deals 2 months apart and do completely different things with them. So as things change, you don't know what you need to change, what you don't need to. So for me, it's getting ourselves organized and following processes, and then holding our team accountable to those processes. Does that make sense?
It does. And I think it's so important. And I think we should maybe even take a deeper dive into the system and process, right? Because we all know that to have a successful business, you need to have system, you need to have process. But what does that really mean? Like, how do you even go about starting a process?
That's a great question. What I tell people is write down what you're doing now in chunks, not get down into nitty gritty. Just, okay, let's say it's you get a lead and you're going to go buy the house. What are the big steps that you do? You run your comps, you evaluate the neighborhood, you do some investigating, if you will, or a little bit of background work on the sellers. You go through those exact steps. And then when you're at the property, what do? Are you sitting down on the couch and talking to them? Put kind of those steps together. And it seems overwhelming for people because they try to get too down in the weeds right off the bat. Okay, when I go to comp a property, I go to this website, I do this. That's too low level for people to start out on. Just keep the high level. I do this, I do this, I do this, and then start adding details as time goes on. And it's a lot easier that way. There's lots of tools that people use now online that help visualize things. And those help quite a bit. I use notes. I'm a Mac user, so anytime I think of something, I just start doing notes, and I just kind of put some bullets in, and okay, if this happens, then I know this is going to happen, and then I'll table it for later.
Well, so congratulations. You build a team, you put your system and process in place. You have good people, system process people in place that allow you to be in your cabin, and fly all over the world with your family. Where else do you spend your time these days?
Aside from that, it's on Pete, our software. I originally started making it just because I didn't like the software that I was provided by a company I was affiliated with. Didn't fit my needs. And I started just making it myself. I have an IT background, development background, so it kind of made sense. And I was adamant I did not want to sell it. I didn't want anybody else to use it. I wanted it to be mine. I could make it work the way I wanted to. And after enough time of people asking for it and Amy's suggestion that we make it available, we decided to make it available. And now that's where I spend most of my time, whether it's working with users and getting feedback from them or working through issues with them if they've got some or training their team. That's where I spend most of my time now is in Pete.
Tell us more about Pete. Is it okay?
Yeah.
I don't even like to make the comparison, but I think that maybe many people are familiar with like Podio, right? Podio's big in CRM.
Yep.
I don't know who else uses Salesforce out there. Yeah. HubSpot, we've used HubSpot. So what is your software like? Where does it fall?
Gotcha. It was made specifically for real estate investors. So there's a lot of niche things in it that cater specifically to us. And one of the things that we did differently when we made Pete, it's a CRM at its core, but it's more than just a CRM. Like the phone system's actually embedded into it. We're not having to rely on a Zap moving something somewhere else. But so once the lead comes in, really the property is the focus of our businesses. Whether it's, we're wholesaling it or we're going to buy and hold it or we're going to flip it or hotel it, whatever, the property is the focus. The seller's the focus at the beginning in a phase or two phases, the lead and purchase. But Pete focuses on the property all the way through. So things like notes, you don't lose after you get a purchase contract and you move over to another task management software. A lot of people use Asana. We don't have to use Asana anymore. Everything is right there in Pete for them. All of our file management is there. So easy example of somebody texting pictures to us. Instead of having to go to CallRail or another phone system and download the pictures and upload them over here, do this or that, they're just right there. They are accessible via our screen immediately. So keeping everything very together. I forgot where I was going with that. I'm sorry.
No, that sounds amazing. Because, you're right. Because like I have issues with software, that CRM that we've tried use in the past. And for that same reason. So you get the lead coming in, they heavy on the seller lead management. They lack the focus on like, we did have to use Asana for like, okay, we're under contract, now what?
Yep.
The CRM doesn't do that.
Right. And that was one of the frustrations I had. And a lot of people said, well, just use Zapier. And Zapier can do some great things, but it's not perfect. So like, for instance, if we get a property under contract and the disposition strategy is a flip, once we adjust the status in Pete, it automatically knows what tasks to be created next. Whereas on a wholesale, it may be a different set of tasks. We can have that kind of logic in Pete to handle that automatically. And then we split the property up into phases. So you've got your lead phase, your purchase, rehab, sale, rental, and sold. And all of those are a little bit different. They have a little bit of different focus. So we can have certain things happen when you move something into, let's say, follow-up in lead status, but something completely different when it's in rehab, pending pictures status. Hey, it's done. Let's go ahead and get these pictures done. So it's a lot less work of everybody overall. They're just in one system. It makes it nice if you're training somebody, because instead of training somebody on 6, 7, 8 different systems, it's all in one. There's a lot less steps.
Yes. And even the simple things, as you said, the phone, right? Having a phone that work with the CRM. Like we use CallRail. And in order for CallRail to connect, you got to have a third-party software because every CRM connects to a different phone. And it's very glitchy.
It is. And what's a lot of what I've learned throughout the process of developing Pete is it would make you very frustrated to hear. When you think about the problems that we have in connecting different softwares, it's like, oh my goodness, if these people would just think a little bit outside the box, this could be so much easier. And that's what we did. And we made it and we love it. It's where I spend most of my time.
So all of the years of you using different software and going through your own experience of buying and selling real estate, I think that's really helped with software.
It's helped quite a bit because a lot of softwares you can tell are built by software engineers. They're designed by software engineers. And you're like, nobody in their right mind would do this, then this, and this. And an engineer goes, well, that makes logical sense. Okay, they're right, but humans don't always go that way. There's a certain way that we'll do things,